Hi, everybody. This is John Hersey from Skype Land, and we are thrilled to have our dear friend and associate, Jay Schlum, with us. Jay is a successful business person. He's an enormously successful family man. He's a community leader here in Arizona. And as Jay likes to say, he is the mayor of the greatest town in the world, the mayor of Fountain Hills, Jay Schlum. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, John, for having me.
I'm glad that you were able to find the time, Mr. Mayor, to run several businesses, have your family, and be with us this morning doing this great technology. So thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you, John.
So, Jay, you and I know we've known each other for a number of years, and you were introduced to behavioral assessments through the Leaders Institute several years ago. And you did your assessment. I remember you and I sitting at a Starbucks talking about your assessment one-on-one. Tell me what learning about your strengths through the assessment meant to you at that particular moment. Were there any ahas?
There were quite a few ahas, and if I recall, we actually chatted with a few other folks in the leaders group at the time as well, and it was helpful to hear some of their feedback also related to their scores on the discs and other methods that we discussed during leaders. But specifically for myself, I obviously knew myself to some extent, but I didn't really understand how I best interact with one another. And understanding the feedback that the scoring gave me helped me to better understand how I can best relate with other people and things to be aware of that obviously being who I am and who I've been for 45 years, it was helpful to get a different perspective and to understand myself a little bit better.
So you're not 45. I'm not buying that. So specifically, if you can, how did you use that information, that knowledge about your strengths and about your behavior style at work?
Well, I recognized a couple of things immediately, one of which, when you're put into a pressure situation, your personality, your type is likely to respond in a couple of particular ways, and that hit dead on. But it was good to see in black and white on this report so that I could be better ready to address a situation as best I could. So I think that one stood out the greatest is when you're in a stressful situation, what are you likely to do? What are you likely to do that may not benefit the situation? And it just helped me to be more aware of my personality and how I might behave given different stressful situations around town, in business, and at home.
Very, very good. So for those of you watching this video who have been through the the Looking to Greatness module and did the Jigsaw Challenge exercise, Jay is a yellow. Jay is a talker. Jay is all about people. He's enthusiastic. He is Mr. Optimism. He loves being around people. Take him away from the people equation and he suffocates. In fact, you can't get any higher on that scale of yellow than Jay. And it just so happens that Jay and I share that distinction of having the maximum score is 100, and both Jay and I are 100 yellows or in that respect. So one of the interesting questions that I have is that as mayor, where you have to communicate on a regular basis with an enormously diverse group of people every single day, how do you use this information to adapt your style on a regular basis dealing with such a diverse group?
Well, I think the going through this with you and Bev was great help, helping me to understand me a little bit better. You don't often take the time to try to understand yourself. You just you're busy, you just keep moving, and you try to get things done as best you can. What's helped me in working with a variety of different people is to understand who I am. And I think being authentic and understanding who I am and knowing who I am, given my character traits and my scoring of 100, I definitely am one that's wanting to please, can overtalk at times, and wanting to make sure everybody is happy and content and we're all moving in the right direction. But you always can't please everyone. So part of the issue with me was to understand that and to not really drive yourself batty trying to be all things to all people. So understanding who I am and is very important, and I think that was a great exercise to go through, and I continue to benefit from that today.
So you and I both share in common, we were talking about this the other day, that we have this compelling need to be liked. And you went ahead and chose politics, where at any given point in time, a lot of the people aren't going to like you for whatever their own personal reasons. How do you sort of reconcile that?
I think, one, accepting that
Yeah.
there are a lot of different issues, even in local politics, maybe even more so in local politics. People are closest to situations that are affecting them. And at a national level where things are on edge right now, it makes it even more volatile at a local level. But I think through my approach, maybe it's through what inherently I have and through my trainings and understanding of who I am, has helped me to help our community through some challenges that we have. Understanding we're not always going to agree, but helping to have that respect for one another, and more important is to be clear about what the issues are rather than to try to be right. We can always agree to disagree, but most importantly, we really try to look deeply into the issues. And at a community level, the community has values in and of itself that may not be on par with what the national ideology is. So we have a unique element there as well. But I think my ability to respect one another and my ability to accept others' opinions has helped a great deal. Yes, I'm not loved by everyone, but I do feel a great deal of love here in the community, and a lot of folks here in our community choose to step up and assist in the challenges that we face, and that's what makes us a great community.
Well, I can say categorically, Jay, that of the thousands of assessments that Beverly and I have administered in businesses and in the community and at the school, which we do every year with the kids, I can't think of maybe another one or two people who have embraced it as aggressively as you have, to really understand who you are and to be able to use that day in and day out. And that whole issue of, some people aren't going to like you, it's, if I may, the coaching point is that once you understand these behavioral styles, then theoretically the emotion leaves. It's just, people are just behaving the way they have to behave. It's the way they do it. It's the way they express themselves. It doesn't make them right. It doesn't make them wrong. It just is the way they do it. And it sort of helps you remove anything that's personal about it. So the ouch becomes a little bit less of an ouch sometimes when people act that way. My hat's off to you, though. You've really embraced it. You've really used it effectively. And that whole point about understanding the issues rather than being right, wow, that's a whole different conversation that we could have, and maybe we will at a certain point. Jay, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with us today. This is a very cool technology, and even though we're across town, we get to use Skype, and then we get to pull into this other technology so that you don't have to leave your office, we don't have to leave ours, and we get to share some important insights with the members of the Contagious Leaders Coaching Club. So thank you, my friend, very, very much.
John, my pleasure, and it's all really in the end about being effective and not necessarily being right or making yourself feel good, particularly at a community level. And you've added a great deal of assistance in helping me to be effective and getting more people involved in our community, which in the end makes everybody a part of the solution. And I just appreciate you and Bev's work, and this assessment was just a part of it, and I wish you the best, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're going to close out by saying, as we always do, be well and be contagious.